Hi, it's James and Watts. Welcome back to my knitting podcast for episode 4. My apologies, first of all, for keeping you waiting. It's been a while since I've recorded a podcast episode. I'm trying to record one per month. That feels like a pretty good pace for me. And I definitely intended to record one in May, but May flew by and I really lost track of time. I was traveling for half of that month. A lot going on in life as well, so didn't really have time for that, but I'm happy to be here now. So let's get into it. First of all, is this the first time I'm wearing glasses for a podcast episode? I feel like I've been wearing my contacts, which the past year I've really gotten into wearing these like subtle color contacts that I really love. I mean, I end up wearing them most days anyway because I need to wear them to go to the gym. I can't deal with glasses on my face and I'm sweaty and working out. And I go to the gym most days. I'm not going to the gym today. It's my rest day. I had a nice little leg day yesterday. And yeah, I'm wearing glasses. This is one of my favorite pairs. It's funny that I haven't really been wearing them in podcast episodes because I feel like having a lot of pairs of cool vintage glasses is something that I have become known for to some people. So yeah, I should wear them more, I guess. I don't know, but I also love my contacts. And I just ordered 2 new pairs of contacts, a clear pair, which will be nice to have that option, and then another colored pair, which maybe is gonna look totally wild and messed up, or maybe it's gonna be cool. It's like a kind of pink, yellow, dark outer rim situation. I don't know how to describe it, but it'll probably be a month or 2 before they even come in the mail because I have astigmatism and I need toric lenses, which are custom order, and then they're getting shipped from Asia to Croatia. So it'll probably be a month or 2, but keep an eye on my Instagram if you have any interest in seeing me show my new eyeballs. Anyway, I'm wearing my glasses today. Another huge thing that really must be mentioned is that I am now without my mustache for the first time in, God, who knows? I don't know. That's the reason I cut it, was because I was talking to someone about I've had a beard off and on over the years, but I don't know when the last time I shaved my mustache was. And I was like, surely I can find a photo. And I think I have photos of, in my camera roll on my phone, going back to 2015, and I could not find a single photo of me without a mustache. And I love my mustache, but I'm just I need to know what my face looks like. I need to check in with my face. Oh my God. Sorry if you can see disgusting little flies flying around between me and the camera. Not much I can do about it. I don't have air conditioning and it's starting to heat up. And I have just been keeping my doors and windows open around the clock. And most people don't really have screens to keep bugs out here, unfortunately. So I just have to let the bugs in. And luckily the flies that come in, they come in every day. A lot of times I will have, this is so disgusting, but I'll have 8 flies buzzing around the living room while I'm just pretending, I'm dissociating from them. But they're they're not super big. They're not big, juicy, loud house flies. I could not suffer through that. A big house fly really disgusts me, as you saw on a previous episode. If you watch my other podcast episodes, there was one in the room, and I had to chase it out and lock it out of the room because that is too much. But these ones, they come in, they spawn out of nowhere spontaneously, and then they tend to leave. Once it gets dark, they disappear. But there's 2 in right now, not that bad. I have the door closed just because I'm kind of in the city center and I'm really close to tram tracks and a heavy traffic street. There's too much noise of the city to have the door open in here. And I'm from Texas. We really love our air conditioning and we overuse it. We pump it out until all of our public spaces and homes are freezing cold, and that's what I like. So I'm not looking forward to it really heating up for summer. It's been pretty pleasant to have my windows and doors open, minus the bugs. But the past few days, we have had a lot of rain. And with that, there's been a little bit of, like, sometimes it'll cool off because of the rain, but then it heats right back up as soon as the sun comes out, and it's back and forth, so it's really humid. It's humid in my house. I have the doors and windows open still, the other parts of the house, and I don't know, maybe I'd be more comfortable if I closed it to keep the humidity out, but it's already in and I'm committed to it, and at least I have a little bit of a cross breeze when I have everything open. Last time we talked about coffee, and today I already had a coffee. I had a coffee out. I met up with my girlfriend Anna this morning at the main center market called Dolot's, and we had coffee and cookie together. But I love a little energy drink. It has to be 0 sugar. I'm not drinking sugar drinks. I'm diabetic. If you want to drink sugar drinks, go for it, but I'm not. I really like this one. Monster 0 sugar energy ultra paradise. It's green, as you can see. And the soda itself is also green. Like, sometimes I'm really feeling fancy and I will pour this into a glass with ice and a straw, and it is the most beautiful green color ever. But today, just raw dogging it out of the can. Kind of a precarious little monster shelf I've built for myself here. I just picked up these flowers today at the market for this podcast. I don't know what they are. I'm not sure. I don't think they're stock. I don't think they're delphinium, but I'm not sure. They were really inexpensive, which was nice. It was €2 per bunch, and I got 2 bunches. And last weekend, I got peonies, which were quite expensive. They were really beautiful, and I thought I would record in time for the peonies, but they don't last long. They really started dropping petals quickly. I'm not sure how long these will last, but they weren't that expensive, so it's okay. Yeah, I'm getting on tangents. I was talking about my mustache, and oh my god, as soon as I shaved it, I had like an identity crisis, and I really regretted it. I just missed it immediately, and it was so weird to see my upper lip, but I already got used to the way I look without it, and it doesn't bother me. However, when I see photos of myself from like a month ago with a mustache, I'm like, oh wait, I look so cute with a mustache. And I keep just shaving like every day or two. So I'm like, okay, am I gonna grow it back out or not? Because it's annoying to grow it out from scratch. You have to kind of look unkempt for a week or two if you want to grow out new facial hair. But here's what I'm thinking. It's something I've been considering for a while, which is to grow out a goatee, which I had a goatee when I was like 18 or 19 because I didn't really know what else to do with my facial hair, and I wanted to keep my facial hair. And like at some point I realized that it didn't look good on me, and I thought it was really cringe, and I was like, oh my god, I'll never have a goatee again. And I like couldn't believe that I was so young walking around with a goatee. However, one of my friends from my master's degree, he's an oboe player named Justin, who now works for like Chanel Beauty, which he loves, and I love that for him. He often grows out a goatee. He's like really femme. He's like like similar to me, like a lot of androgyny, a nice mixture of feminine and masculine elements to his self-expression and style. And he often wears like a full face of makeup, and then has like a really beautifully groomed goatee that I just think is so cute, and I love the way he's mixing masculine and feminine in that way. And yeah, he's been inspiring me for a couple of years to try a goatee, and I think I will. Which my friends here that I've told I want to do a goatee are like, oh my god, please don't do a goatee, it's so bad. And I'm like, just wait, it's gonna be cute if I do it, okay? But we'll see, maybe it'll be bad. But then I'll be in a good position to just shave off the bottom and keep my mustache, and the world will be back in order, right? Okay, let me look at my iPad, please, so I know what's going on. Grandma needs her iPad. Okay, I just got back last week from a trip. big trip. My girlies Park of Parkinit and Jessie May of Jessie Made Designs came to visit me here in Croatia. This was Jessie May's second time in Croatia and Park's first time, and that was really sweet. I love to see my friends. I love to go on trips with them. I love that they are willing to come all this way to hang out with me. It was a big trip, like 2 weeks, and they started off in Zagreb. We were just in Zagreb for a day, and then we went to Skradin, which is a beautiful little ancient village and town, village, I don't know how you want to call it, but it's beautiful. It's really charming. It's close to Šibenik, and Skradin specifically is really close to Krka National Park, and that was our plan, was to hike Krka National Park. But they just happened to get here at a time where we had just had like 2 straight weeks of cold rain throughout Croatia. Which of course, like before that rain, we were having beautiful, sunny, warm spring weather, and then it starts like raining horribly every day. And Krka is a big national park filled with like water and waterfalls and lakes and rivers and streams. And it flooded, and they closed the national park. Someone was telling me that it's like the first time in like 15 years that that park has been closed for even a single day, and it was closed every day we were there. It was closed. So that was a shame, because like, you know, we already had accommodations. We were there for like 3-4 days to spend time in Krka, and yeah, it would have been nice to see the park. We did find a few spots that we could drive by and just take a look out the window to see some waterfalls, and you could tell it was flooded, but they weren't letting anyone like park and get out and go into the proper park. So, but we still had a lovely time in that part of the trip, and then we went to Hvar, which is the sunniest island in Croatia, and we had beautiful weather every day. We had gorgeous sun, and we went swimming every day. We went to a different beach. May was a really good time to do a little beach trip because it is just before the like real summer season gets started. And Croatia's main industry is tourism. It's a beautiful country with a ton of beautiful coastline. So I haven't really seen it firsthand for myself yet, but from what I understand, when it's in the middle of the season on the coast, every place is packed, and it's just a lot. And to some people, that's like a draw, like people who want to meet people and go clubbing and go to bars and stuff, and like all of that energy would like that. But the 3 of us like seclusion and solitude and empty beaches and quiet and beautiful, melancholic little beachy vibes, okay? And yeah, wait, that's what we got. A lot of the beaches we went to were actually like, maybe there was 1 or 2 other people on them besides us. There's so many beaches to choose from on Hvar, and we had a car, so yeah, that was great. Need a sip of my go-go juice. Anyone else like energy drinks? Delicious. You know what I was really into for a few years is Bang Energy. They have a lot of good flavors. They don't have that here though. I've seen Bang once in Slovenia, but not in Croatia. But thankfully they have these yummy Monster flavors. I had this exact flavor of Monster the day I arrived in Croatia, when I was like tired from international travel and getting off the plane. Yeah, Hvar was nice, different beach every day. And then we did, like a lot of people use Hvar for island hopping purposes. There's lots of like taxi boats where you can take to neighboring islands, and that's what we thought we would be doing. We only went to a different island on one day because there were just so many beautiful beaches that were secluded and gorgeous on the island Hvar itself, and it's a big island. Like there's a lot to see. We probably, you know, saw 2% of it. So yeah, the island we went to, a lot of the islands I feel like there are more people at them, and they're more set up to like have like resort style like little restaurants and bars right on the beach, which if that's your thing, that's really nice. But I prefer for nature to have a more untouched look. Like a lot of the beaches we went to, they might have like one cafe or one restaurant like just behind the beach, but nothing like on the beach. Nothing like you're almost in the water and having a waiter come out and serve you a cocktail, which like that's a vibe, but not what we were looking for. Hvar was great, and then I drove all the way from Hvar to Dubrovnik. That was a big drive, but it was nice. I haven't been behind the wheel really since I've come to Europe, and it was nice to know I still remember how to drive. We had an automatic car this time. Last time Jessie May visited me, we were in a manual because we did not make a reservation ahead of time, and manual was the only thing available last minute, and thank God Jessie May knows how to drive manual. She's old. She learned to drive at a time where people were still learning how to drive stick. I would love to learn how, and I think it's a good skill to have, you know, just in case. It would have been nice if I could have helped her drive on her first trip. But most people in Croatia, and I think in a lot of Europe, are still driving manual cars. And my best friend here drives a manual, and she has offered many times to teach me how to drive her car, which I always want to take her up on. We just have never found the time to do it, and like figuring out a good place for a beginner to go figure out how to drive. But we should do that for sure. Yeah, what else? Oh, then we went to Dubrovnik, which has exploded in popularity since the filming of Game of Thrones, since a lot of Game of Thrones was filmed there, like the main city, King's Landing, and the Red Keep were filmed in Dubrovnik from season 2 onward. And yeah, it definitely has those Game of Thrones vibes. It is an ancient, walled-in city. It is so beautiful with big fortresses right on like jagged cliffs over the sea. It's beautiful. Really, it seems like a dragon could fly by at any moment. We weren't sure how much we'd be going to the beach because it is a coastal city. We went to like the main city beach, Banya, I think. And there was too many people and too small. So once was enough for that. And then the rest of the time we just really enjoyed being in the city, walking around the city. We did a Game of Thrones walking tour, which like, it's so easy to turn up your nose at those types of things, like super touristy things, super touristy tours to begin with, and then add on top of that it's not even like that educational to like learn that much about the history of the city. It's like literally to learn about your favorite TV show that you watched years ago. But I'm glad that me and my friends who were with me could just be honest with ourselves and admit that that is what we wanted to do and see, and we loved it. So it was great. It was really cool. The tour guide was funny, and we did learn a lot about, like, she mentioned stuff about history for sure. It was mostly about the show, but we learned a lot about how it affected Dubrovnik tourism and economy, and like what it was like to be a local in Dubrovnik when filming was occurring. So that was interesting. I got back into reading on this trip. I always want to be a reader. Reading is so sexy and like interesting, and anyone who reads books and carries books around, I admire that. And I was like a voracious reader growing up as a kid. I loved reading, and I don't know at what point, probably at some point in high school when I had a lot of required reading that I just didn't do. I like didn't read much after that. And every once in a while, I'll pick up a book and pick up the habit and always hope it sticks, and it usually doesn't. But right now, I'm reading, and I'm really happy with that. I started and finished a book on vacation, Samantha Irby's new book, Quietly Hostile, which if you don't know her, you don't know her work, you should get all of her books and read them. If you like really funny, personal essays, they're a little bit irreverent and raunchy, and a lot of like writing about poop and farts. But it's funny. It's really funny, beautifully written, like a lot of vulnerable writing as well. But her newest book, Quietly Hostile, came out right at the start of this trip. And I read that start to finish. And then, to be really dorky, we decided to pick up copies of the first book of Game of Thrones in Dubrovnik at the Dubrovnik bookstore and start reading on that trip. And it was actually so sweet and so cute. I feel like it's gonna be a cherished memory for me for the rest of my life. But we literally, every night after we were done walking around the city, took turns reading chapters out loud from Game of Thrones and like eating it up. And it was so cute and so fun. I could cry about it. I love it. It also just was so nostalgic because like, when was the last time you read aloud for someone, and when was the last time someone read aloud for you, you know? It made me feel like a little kid again. And the way like, I was really late to the Game of Thrones party. I like binged the entire series start to finish for the first time like a year ago, like exactly. So it's all really fresh for me. I did not get the hype before, and then I got super into it suddenly. Actually, on our summer vacation with Jessie May in Florida last year, we watched the whole thing. But it was really exciting. The first book, at least, is really like, the TV show was really true to that book, so you can really imagine everything that you remember seeing in the show. And I found myself, which like, this is such a familiar sensation that I remember doing this when we would have like group reading in elementary or middle school, when you're really into what's being read. I found myself, because I had my own copy while someone else was reading from their copy, and I was reading along, and I would notice myself getting ahead of the reader because I was so excited to read what happened next, which is so funny to like be so excited over reading a book. So that was really sweet, and we got through a lot of it. We got through like a couple hundred pages maybe, and now I'm reading it on my own, at least a chapter every day, if not more, back home here in Zagreb, and that's really fun. I'm really enjoying it. I mean, the last book still isn't even out, so hopefully he finishes writing the series. Okay, let's talk about what I'm wearing for a second. Okay, it's probably been like, I don't know, 3 hours, so let's finally start talking about knitting and yarn. The reason you nerds are here. But first, a sip of my beverage. Yummy. Okay, I'm wearing a really old piece. This is a cozy classic raglan by Jessie May that Jessie May knit for me. I think she knit it for me probably in like 2019. I feel like it was the first year of my master's when I was living in Florida. And I remember getting it in the mail. It was a surprise, I think. And it was just so sweet and so exciting to have my friend knitting for me. And yeah, it's knit in Noro, specifically Noro Geshi, which I believe is discontinued. You can probably still find someone selling it if you want. One interesting thing, one nice thing about this base, it's not a lot of colors. Like some Noro colorways have like 12 different colors in the cycle, which is really fun. But if you want something a little bit easier for the eye to like absorb and understand, it's like not a lot of colors. They're all, most of the colorways I think are all like one family. Like this is all blues, bluey, purpley, greeny, neutral, cool tones. And it's a pretty long color run because this is a size 2XL and the stripes are still like almost an inch per stripe, maybe like 3/4 of an inch per stripe. This was large on me. Actually, no, this fit me perfectly when she sent it. But Geshi, like a lot of Noro yarns, loses shape. A lot of Noro yarns really stretch out, which like, there are so many fair critiques of Noro yarns. There are so many like quirky things about them. Like they're super weak, they break easily when you're knitting, there's often knots in the skeins, they stretch out and lose their shape. Like there's so many, they're expensive, they're not very soft. There are so many bad things to say about Noro, and I do not care. I don't care. There could be 100 knots in my skein. I don't care. I love Noro. It is unique, it is special, it is a treasure. It's one of the first yarns I ever laid eyes on at a yarn shop and thought, oh my God, this is something really like special and a treasure. So yeah, I like it. I like it. It's beautiful with amazing colors, and I love the textures. And they come out with new bases every year. They discontinue other bases every year. They have some bases that have been around for decades. You gotta try them. Like, a lot of these things sort of apply across the board, but every once in a while they'll come out with something that's like, wow, that's actually pretty soft for Nora, or something that keeps its shape a lot better than something else. Whenever they do things that are 100% wool, they'll sometimes have 100% wool bases. Those tend to keep their shape a bit better than their things with like cotton. Yeah. The really heavily cotton-based yarns, I feel like, lose their shape quite a bit. So yeah, this quickly became oversized on me as it lost its shape. This yarn in particular stretched out quite a bit, and now I've lost quite a bit of weight, so it's like cavernous. It's like a huge tent on me, and I was almost thinking, just because I was in the mood to knit some Nora and I didn't have any, I was almost thinking to frog this, because I was like, oh, it's so big on me, am I even gonna wear it? I could frog it and knit something else, and the yarn's already stretched out, so in theory, I think I could knit with it and it would maintain its shape. But I'm glad I didn't frog it, because I reached for it today on a whim, and I love oversized clothing. Like, it's so big that it does some weird stuff, like there's definitely too much fabric at the underarm, but it's okay, whatever. It's hand knit, it doesn't need to be perfect. But this is so cute with my little linen shorts. Yeah. So, that's what I'm wearing. Cozy Classic Raglan by Jessie May with short sleeves. It's a great pattern. I always am thinking how I want to knit another one, and then I never find the time for it. But, ugh, my nose is itchy. Sorry, I'm itching my nose a lot. I think I'm getting a little bit of allergies these days. What else? That's what I'm wearing. Let's talk about my cowl, I think is next on the list. Oh, why won't my iPad open? Okay, what I'm knitting. Yeah, I'm knitting on my latest Dappled Lace Raglan. This is my third time knitting it, because I knit a sample in short sleeves for Anna to wear, and then I knit a sample with long sleeves for myself, which I wear a lot. I wear it all the time. I wore it like almost every other day of my trip, even though I brought kind of a lot of options for clothes. I just kept wanting to go back to that because it's really comfortable and really elegant. And then a lot of people bought that pattern when it came out for my birthday with my birthday sale, which was really exciting. I'm grateful for that. But I was like, you know what? All these people bought it. Like, I want to see them actually knit it, because it's really easy for people to get caught up in the excitement of a pattern release and buy it just to support the designer, and then they never get around to it. Especially, like, I think this Dappled Lace Raglan definitely falls into the category of the type of pattern that could be daunting to get started on, just because it is all over lace. Like, that is a lot for some people. So I was like, let's put on the pressure, let's do a knit along and get everyone knitting this. And the knit along goes only another like week and a half or something. It goes to the first day of summer. And I am really determined to finish my own entry for the knit along. And I don't know, I feel like a lot of people are knitting it and participating for sure. I like never really know what to do on a knit along. Like, should I be doing Instagram lives or hosting like hangout events or something? And I just end up not doing any of that stuff. So sorry if people want it to be more interactive. But I will say there is a lot of really cute interaction and chatter going on in my Ravelry group, which I'm going to talk more about that after this. But let me finish talking about the cowl. There are a lot of prizes. I think there's 11 prizes to be exact. We've got 2 $50 gift cards to Port Fiber, 2 $50 gift cards to Ritual Dyes, and 2 €50 gift cards to Stephen and Penelope, which I bought all these gift cards myself. I'm sure these brands would be so happy to donate them to me if I like asked. But it's nice to support them, you know? And I also was in a hurry. I didn't want to be doing all these emails asking for prizes. I was like, let me just buy them and support all these businesses. But I will say, I bought 2 ritual dyes, 2 port fiber, and I only bought 1 Stephen and Penelope, because I just wanted to make sure I had at least 1 prize on the European continent for people who want to shop online. And you know, you don't want half your gift card to go to shipping if you live in Europe and you want a gift card for an American business, right? So, and import, like taxes as well. So I wanted to make sure I had a European-based prize, but I also was like, I had already spent $250 to get that many gift cards. And I was like, I need to draw the line somewhere. I don't want to spend $300 on gift cards. $250 feels right. And shout out to Stephen and Penelope. They sent me an email and were like, hey, we just saw that you bought a gift card and we saw you announce that you are offering it as a prize in your Cowl. Thank you. Can we comp you the gift card? Can we refund you the gift card? Which is so nice for them to like notice that and thank me and offer to pay for it. And I was like, no, I'm happy to support you guys, but if you really want to, like, why don't you donate a second one, like match what I put in, and then you also will have 2 gift cards for your business as well. And so they sent me a second gift card. Thank you, Stephen and Penelope, for that. It was really generous, really nice. So 6 gift cards to give away, and then 5 people will be gifted my entire pattern library, which I did the math. It's like, I don't know, it's like $200 of patterns or something. It's a lot of patterns at this point. That's exciting. I love to give away patterns. It's easy for me. Then I can make sure, even if I have someone, if I draw a winner who is like in a place where it probably just doesn't make sense for them to get a gift card, geographically, then I can still get them prizes digitally, right? I want everyone in the world to have the chance to win something and to participate. So 11 prizes to give out. If this is the first you're hearing about the Cowl, but you've been working on this pattern, go ahead, try to finish. All you have to do is post your finished object on Instagram with the hashtag dappled lace raglan cowl. Or join my Ravelry group, James and Watson Friends, I think is what it's called. I'm sure you can find it. And you post, make a project page on Ravelry and post a picture of the finished object in the thread on my forum and my group for the Cowl, for the finished object thread on the Cowl. Which there's definitely been a good number of people posting in the hashtag on Instagram, but there's not that many FO posts in the Ravelry yet. I think there will be by the time the Cowl is done. But if you use Ravelry and you use Instagram, you should do both, because I'm gonna draw half my prizes from one and half my prizes for the other, and you get double the chance if you're posting in both, right? So I encourage you to do that. Let me show you my version after a sip of my Monster Ultra Paradise. Yum. So for my second version, I like splurged on some fancy yarn. I am knitting this out of 100% mulberry silk, and it is just gorgeous. It is really beautiful, special yarn. I wish I could reach out and you could touch it. It feels like water. It's like liquid gold. It is so nice. I do, to be honest, so let me just show you my progress. I split the sleeve panels off and finished the underarm, and now I'm at the body. It's smooth sailing to be done with the yoke, but it is still quite a bit of knitting. I do want to do full length body and full sleeves, and I only have like, I don't know, less than a week and a half to finish this, so I really need to keep motivated on this. And you know what, if I need to delay the end of my own Cowl, then we all get a little extra time, but I'm kind of determined. Like, no offense to anyone who's done this, but especially when you are a business, you know, part of a cowl is to make me money. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you and be like, oh, it's just about like friendship and good vibes. It's also, it is that, but it's also business and marketing. So with that being said, no offense if anyone's done this, but I think it's kind of lame for like a brand to host a cowl that they're supposedly participating in and then they don't finish, or maybe even start. Like, then to me, I'm like, okay, well, that's kind of transparent, but whatever. I'm still giving away prizes, so there's still fun to be had, and people are enjoying interacting on the hashtag, interacting in the rivalry group. But it's just, I've decided for me personally, it's important that I'm participating, and I finished one too, and we actually are knitting along together. So, yeah. I have some thoughts on this yarn, and I have a little bit of doubt about my choice. It's beautiful yarn. I used it once before for knitting an As Friends tank by Jessie May, a little like bralette type of tank, and I loved it. It's a single ply, which I would not normally knit any garment out of a single ply held by itself, right? But I know from experience that this silk is so strong with like such a long staple length that even as a single ply, I cannot break this yarn with my bare hands. It would cut into my flesh before I could snap this yarn with my hands. So it's super strong. I'm not worried about the yarn breaking, but it's so soft, and it almost already like straight out of the skein has that like fuzzy, soft halo that I just have a feeling that with wear, this is gonna get really pilly and fuzzy and a bit dingy looking as a result. So I'm a little bit worried about that. I hope it doesn't look like shit after wearing it only a few times, because the yarn was expensive, and even more importantly, this is just a massive amount of work to knit a full length, full sleeve, all over lace sweater, and I want it to be something that I enjoy wearing for a long time. Here's my other worry about this, is even though it's silk and that's considered to be a more summery fiber, I actually have a feeling, because it's just like so soft, there's something about the feeling of this that I feel like is going to be quite insulating and could make me hot. That is my other fear, is that this is not going to be something that I'm really going to want to reach for much in summer. Like, I don't know if I want to be getting sweat all over my silk, you know? But that's okay then. Then maybe I wear this more in the fall or even the winter. That's cool. But I will say this suits my summer wardrobe more, this color and this style. So those are my little anxieties about this yarn. If I were to go back to when I was ordering yarn, I ordered this one because I ordered it before, and I just knew that this single ply was so soft and strong. I didn't think much about the other stuff that I've realized now. By the way, this comes from a German yarn dyer who works on Etsy called Dye for Yarn. Yarns, I don't know, dye like D-Y-E. And almost all their yarns are silk, but they have many different silk yarn bases, and they have other fingering weight plied silk yarns, and I kind of wish I had gone for a plied yarn. I think would be, I mean, we'll see how this performs, but I think it would not share the issues of like the fear that it's gonna get pilly and fuzzy. Yeah, so whatever, I can knit another one. I probably will. I love this pattern. And like, it looks so good on everyone. Everyone who's finishing for the cowl is looking so elegant in theirs. I'm quite like really happy with this design, honestly. And that's that on that. We can move on. I will be knitting this after I'm done recording for the day. If I can at least do like 2 repeats on the body today, that would be nice. Got to do a total of 10 8-row lace repeats under the underarm, and I think I've done probably 3. Like almost every day I'm like, I'm gonna do 2, and then I just do 1. It doesn't take me that long to do 1 either. Like 8 rows probably takes me like an hour and a half, or something. So I could knit for 3 hours. I don't know. I have a lot of other things that I'm doing and that I want to be doing, right? I want to be reading my book. I want to play video games. I want to knit this. I need to do other girl boss tasks. I need to be on my computer and checking emails and stuff. So it's not always easy to get myself to commit to sitting down for 3 hours of knitting. I want to talk a little bit about my Ravelry groups, as I mentioned it a few times. If you're not there, you should be there if you use Ravelry. And like a lot of us who use Ravelry are just using it to buy and keep track of our patterns. I know like the groups in the forum features are so outdated and antiquated, and like who uses an internet forum anymore. And I kind of started my group and started posting on my forum on a whim, like almost like as a joke, that I could post on my Instagram story and be like, guys, let's all pretend we're like in the 90s and on Neopets and like posting my forum. And a lot of people actually were like, hell yeah, like let's do it. Like a lot of people shared the nostalgia for the feeling of posting on an internet forum. And beyond the bit and the initial joke of doing it, I've actually really been enjoying posting on the forum, and people are participating. When I start a new thread, I tend to go on Instagram and link it. And I'm like, guys, here's the new thread. Here's what it's about. If you have any input, please go participate. And people will if they're interested. I did one on perfume and fragrance, which I'm going to talk about that today. And then I just started one. There's like an introduce yourself thread. There's 2 threads for my Cowl. One that's chatter, which has a lot of posts of people's whips and talking about pattern troubleshooting, like really cool stuff. And then there's an FO, like the official FO thread that'll count as entries into the Cowl, where you can only post once you finish. And then I started a couple days ago a thread to talk about anime, because I've loved watching anime since I was in elementary school, and I've been into it off and on, and I recently have been getting heavily back into it, and none of my immediate friends in real life are like that into anime. And I want to have people to talk about it with. So I made a forum post and posted on Instagram that, hey, like I made a post about anime. If anyone wants to talk about anime with me, please go post. And I kind of thought no one would post, but like, I don't know, there's been a fair number of posts in that thread, and I'm loving what people are watching and recommending, and I'm like adding these things to my queue on Crunchyroll where I watch anime, and I love that. I'm also like responding to like almost every post in detail, because I have a lot to say on this stuff. And I just want to say, to be really honest, I cannot really interact with people so much on Instagram. Like it'd be nice if I could, because a lot of people interact with me on Instagram. I get DM requests every day, and sometimes it's like funny messages or really sweet messages, interesting stuff, and I would like to respond, but I just have to be really careful about the way I use Instagram and my boundaries on that platform, because the way it's set up, and with the like having a larger following, if I start accepting all of my DM requests, that opens the door for people to message me willy-nilly whenever they want, whatever they want, where they're getting, you know, they'll get a read receipt if I read their messages. And I mean, I love that people want to interact, but I cannot like have 1,000 people sending me heart eye reaction emojis on Instagram. And that's the other thing. A lot of this is just to do with like Instagram not being like the greatest platform for like interacting. It's just like annoying. They're always adding like unnecessary new features. And like, I think it's sweet. Like I have people who I do not know. I don't have any relationship with them, but I answered a DM of them like 5 years ago even. And now they permanently have access to my inbox, and they send me, like, I have a few people who, no matter what I post, I could post 10 stories today, and they will do those little quick DM reactions where you just hit the emoji, and I get a notification for that. Like, I cannot be giving 1,000 people the power to make my phone buzz all day. I probably sound like an asshole, and I probably sound like I think I'm so important and I'm like a celebrity or some shit, and it's not like that. I'm sure y'all understand. It's just like, I need to be careful, I need to have boundaries, I need to protect my space on the internet and protect, like, Instagram is so tied up with like my business and branding, and I can't be getting 3,000 messages a day. That being said, after making myself sound so annoying, Ravelry has been perfect. It is the perfect place for people to use my forums to interact with me and for me to respond in a really easy, casual way where it's not like giving me anxiety on my phone. And that people are getting to interact with each other in a group setting and not just in DMs or in the comment section of a public post. That's just not as fun. We're also able to like type a lot if we want to. So the Ravelry forum, oh, my iPad is under me, I forgot, has been really cute, and I encourage you, if that sounds like fun to you and you would like to interact with me more, that is the place to do it. And to meet other people who are fans of James and Watts patterns, dude. Oh my God. I'm gonna be embarrassed when I watch this part back and I talk about how I can't have too many Instagram DMs or I'll have an anxiety attack. But unfortunately, I refuse to cut and edit these podcasts, so whatever I say is going on the internet. Oh, one of the threads I did was to talk about perfume and fragrance because I've been really obsessed with fragrance recently. And I get a lot of TikToks about perfume. I research a lot about perfume. I'm always trying to find something that sounds interesting that I could go try and consider getting. And I was really looking for recommendations for lemony perfumes, and a lot of people gave me interesting recommendations. A lot of people just said what their favorite perfumes were. And I ended up, that was a really fun thread. A lot of people had good recommendations. People were talking about things that I've loved in the past, like Marc Jacobs Daisy was something someone brought up, which used to be like my favorite fragrance. I still love it. I haven't had it in years though. Someone else I think brought up some of the other Margiela replica scents, like Jazz Club is one that I love. And anyway, I ended up buying not something lemony. I ended up buying a new perfume kind of on a whim. Like I was in Mueller, which is like it's a German company, I guess, but they're all over Croatia, and they sell everything for like your house, fragrances, cosmetics. They have a lot of perfumes to look at. And I was just walking around Mueller and I saw this beautiful green colored perfume, and I was like, ooh, green, like what's that smell like? It's from Burberry. And I smelled it and instantly loved it. It was so girly and young and feminine and sweet and fruity and crispy and not what I thought I was looking for, but as soon as it hit my nose, I really liked it. And I was like, okay, like I really like this, and I sprayed it on and wore it out of the store, and I enjoyed wearing it. Then I went back the next day to try the other similar perfumes in the same line and decided that I still liked the one I tried initially first, which is it's Burberry Her EDT. And I have it here. Can you see it? Kind of minimalist bottle. It's not like my favorite bottle design, but it is pretty. I like more like ornate looking, crystally looking, witchy looking bottles of perfume. But this is quite clean looking, and it just smells so good. I can't tell you all the notes. I don't remember. The top note is like pear, but to me, I really get lychee more than anything at the top. And the top of it is my favorite. But it settles down to like your standard kind of like floral, fruity, woody musk scent. But it's so good. I took this with me. I bought this right before our trip, and I took this with me on vacation. And Park and Jesse made a habit of, I would take this with me when we went out, so that when I got on the water on the beach, I could freshly spray myself. Like I wanted this scent to kind of imbue itself with my memory of this vacation. And it's a little bit strong when you first spray it. I feel like once it settles down, it's not like too headachy or too strong. Maybe I'm just really used to it, but as soon as you spray it, like you can smell it through the room for a minute. And every time I sprayed it, their heads turned. They'd sense it immediately and go, her, because it's Burberry her. And someone would be like, someone's spraying her. So that was our little joke of the trip every time it came out. And if you don't like perfume and fragrance, I'm sorry. Like, I know it's not for everyone. I know some people hate it. I know some people can't tolerate it. It gives some people a headache, but I like it. And if my spraying this a bunch during this podcast is giving you a headache from across the globe, sorry about it. Oh my God. Now I'm getting allergies as retribution for being rude. But I just feel like some people always like have to insert themselves in that way and like let it be known. And when I'm trying to like have a conversation with my perfume girlies, because obviously I like perfume and they have to let you know, well, I actually hate it and I can't tolerate it and it gives me a headache. I'm like, okay, good for you. Sorry. I get that that's real, but I just don't really need to know. So if you were feeling like posting in my comments right now that you hate perfume, I don't care. Oh my God, why do y'all watch me? I'm a bully. My green perfume with my green drink and my blue top and my green socks. I love blue and green. My bluey purple flowers. You see they gave me one pink flower? Why'd they give me one pink flower and a whole bunch of flowers? Just make them all purple. I mean, I could have taken it out. What am I gonna do with one pink flower? Speaking again of anime, because I made that anime forum post, which if you're interested in some anime recommendations, there's good ones in that group forum post thread. I'm watching a bunch of stuff right now. Like I really got back into it, but I'll just recommend one for today that I just finished the other day. It's called Promised Neverland. Maybe I briefly spoke about it on previous episodes. Only 2 seasons, easy to get through if you're interested. I'm gonna do one spoiler. I'm gonna spoil like the main premise of the show because you find out, I think, on episode 1 or episode 2, and it is like a really exciting twist. So if you're like sure you want to watch it and you're the type of person who wants to be surprised by every moment of this, then skip 30 seconds. I'll try to do it quickly. But pretty much the show starts off with a bunch of like bright-eyed, cheery little kids living in an orphanage, like on a farm, and they're really happy and they're treated really well and they're just waiting to get adopted. They have a woman taking care of them who they call Mother. And then within the first or second episode, the kids find out that they are actually living on a farm being raised as meat products for demons to eat. And they live in a world where humans are the most sought after meat product that demons enjoy eating. So then it begins, and it's their journey to try to escape the farm. Okay, spoilers done. That's the premise of the show. For some people, I think knowing that, you'll know right away, like, ooh, that's creepy and scary and I don't want to watch it with like that. And other people just heard that and maybe they weren't gonna watch it, and now that sounds like something really exciting for you to watch, hopefully. So check that out if you want. Only 2 seasons and it's done. I know people who read the manga were really disappointed with how quickly the 2nd season wraps up the entire show. Like there probably could have been a 3rd season. I didn't read the manga, I don't care. I was happy with it getting wrapped up. I'm always, these days, for anime and for other stuff and non-anime, I'll never complain when a show finishes in 1 or 2 seasons. I kind of like that, because when shows drag on for 10 seasons, a lot of times you're just watching because you've sunk in so much cost, so much time into watching the show that you want to finish it. But the quality goes down, right? Okay. So let me talk about 2 new designs. I'll talk about Pure Mesh Tank Top first, which I think I talked about a little bit already in a previous episode, but that is done. Here it is. Slinky little mesh. It's the same mesh stitch used in Pure Mesh Pullover, but at a slightly smaller gauge, just because this is already a revealing garment. I didn't want such a small garment to cover so little. I was like, for a tank, I want it to be just a little fuller and more substantial. So yeah, I did just a little smaller needle size. It's got I-cord edges on every edge, which is annoying to knit, but looks so good and so clean and totally worth it. And I have had my friend Martz model this. We just did a few quick shots so I could announce the test knit a month ago. But we will get together soon and take some proper, beautiful film shots when we both have time next week. And then the pattern comes out on Friday. But let me just show you, I should have one pic on here of Martz wearing it. Looking so good, so strong. That's what it looks like on. Hopefully, when I watched back the last time I used my iPad, it was a little weird. I know the screen looks quite blue on the camera, but I think if I just get it closer to the camera, it's gonna look more decent. So hopefully that was a good look at it. It takes so little yarn, takes so little time. It's knit bottom up. It is knit flat. The front and the back are knit separately, and you have to seam the sides, which, like, I know you don't want to do any seaming, but deal with it, okay? It's worth it. It's not hard. Seaming is fun if you let it be. Remember, it's a privilege to purl. It's also a privilege to mattress stitch, okay? I really enjoy it. And I do that for a reason, right? If it made sense for me to make it in the round, I would do that because I know more people prefer that. But having it be in the round makes the lace a little bit more to keep track of. I think knitters will be more prone to making mistakes if I do this lace in the round. Whereas when it's knit flat, it kind of stays the same. Every row is the same, and it would be really hard to get lost in that. So yeah, test versions of that are starting to pop up, which is good because the pattern's coming out a week from yesterday. So keep your eyes out for that. If you like mesh, you like summer patterns, you like tank tops, you like having fun, you like being sexy, you like summer, then you're gonna love that pattern, yeah. The other thing I am working on for the summer, which I should, it's about done, it's about ready to go into testing, just a little bit more work to do. If you want to test this for me, I'll show it in a second. You can keep an eye on my Instagram stories. Probably sometime between tomorrow, like between Sunday and Wednesday. I'll even say between Sunday and Tuesday, I should be announcing this test on my Instagram story, putting an application. If you're interested in maybe testing, you can apply. But this is another mesh design for summer. This is my, what is it called? Boat neck batwing, I think is gonna be the name of this top, to be determined. And this is the one that I was supposed to have done ages ago because I started it last November, and then I realized that I used the wrong gauge. If you watch my previous episodes, and I was like, oh my God, the pattern was written, the sample was almost done, and I had to throw it all away. But I'm actually really glad it happened this way because the way that I figured out the gauge, I re-knit it, I knit it start to finish on vacation, and then I wrote the pattern, I rewrote the pattern. I graded and wrote this pattern 3 times, but the last time I did it was after I got back from vacation. I sat down and graded it and wrote it out for the last time, and I really was able to streamline and simplify this pattern. The pattern instruction takes 1.5 pages of space, so it's really simple and easy. And the original way I was writing it was having all the sizes get split up into different sections in the pattern, and there was some very long 30 row repeats of instructions, and all sizes use the same 6 row repeat now. It's going to be really simple, and I was able to knit it really quickly. But here it is. Hope you can see it, okay? And there's Park holding my blue monster energy that I was drinking on the beach as a prop. She looks so cute in this photo. and it's really minimal. Like there's no finishings on any of the edges. It's so funny. It's like either I want to have an I-cord on every single edge, which is a ton of work, and for it to look so clean and perfect, or I like to leave everything raw and have it look really organic and crunchy, and like this almost is like rag-like in a very beautiful way. But it's knit in the round. For this one, it made more sense. It's knit in the round, bottom up, till you get to the armpit, and then armpit to the shoulder is knit flat, and you knit the front and the back separately. But it's a little bit more, it's not fitted, but the sizing is based on the waist measurement actually, and it's about 4 to 6 inches of positive V's around your waist, and then it grows up for a short sleeve batwing and goes like that, right? There's not much difference for sizes for like the human body of how long your arms are. So like I kind of wanted everyone's sleeve to hit somewhere, whether it's a little before or a little after, but somewhere near the elbow, right? Actually, it's quite short on part here. The final pattern is a little bit wider than my sample. So, yeah, like the top of the pattern doesn't change that much between the sizes. So what that means is that the larger end of the sizes, like 3X, 4X, 5X, don't really have that much of a batwing. They still have a little bit of increasing to do, but I would say the larger end of the sizes are more box tops. And the only way to make them all have a batwing shape would be that the larger sizes have really long sleeves, which is not really what we're going for, right? For like a summer swimsuit cover up, or it's also nice a top to just wear over something else, layer and wear out in town, walk around. But that's coming, and it's a boat neck, so that it's super easy. There's no like shaping to do here. Front and back are the same, and you can wear it off the shoulder or on, ideally. So that is coming, boat neck batwing. Why is that hard to say? I want to mix up all those words. What else do I have to talk about? So those are my last 2 summer designs that'll come out this season, and then I'm starting fall knitting, which I'm excited for that. I have a fall equinox collab with Ritual Dyes, and I will be doing a colorwork, a 3-color colorwork hat that'll come out for that collab, which will be part of a kit with the pattern and some other goodies. I haven't bought one before, but I've seen Rachel's previous like seasonal offerings, and they're beautiful. So I'm excited to be working with Ritual Dyes on that. Should be getting in yarn. As soon as I finish knitting my sweater for this cowl, I'm ready to be getting into my fall designs already. I like to try to stay ahead. And then I will also be getting started on my 3-color, I don't know how you want to call it. I don't know if it's like mosaic knitting or like drop stitch, slip stitch colorwork sweater that I'm doing in Moondrake Yarn Company, which I showed those swatches a couple episodes ago with the 3 colors. It's like a tweed stitch swatch, super cool. We'll see how the grading and the designing for that sweater goes. I think it's going to be pretty easy to grade and write, fingers crossed. I anticipate the bulk of the work is going to be knitting. I think that sweater is going to be a lot of knitting. So I want to get started on it early and make sure I'm not rushing. Other than that, I would like to, I'd like to come out with another like new accessory in the fall. Like I haven't really done, my first pattern ever, my free pattern Stealth Space, is like an asymmetrical shawl scarf. But since then I've never done another shawl, and I want to tap into the shawl game, the shawl market, the shawl girlies, the shawl knitting. There are so many fun things you can do with that, and I really want to maybe do some modular stuff, and so we'll see. But if I have the time and the energy, maybe we could expect some type of shawl or scarf in like November or December, maybe both. I have a lot of time to do 2 accessories. So that's what I want to do for fall. what else? I want to talk about some fun new yarns that I've been seeing. First, I want to talk about a brand new yarn company, Quitter Yarns from Nicholas Knits, which is really exciting. Congrats, Nicholas, on starting your yarn brand. I think I have a picture. I have a picture of one of his new colors. It's called What I Think Chartreuse Should Be from Quitter Yarns. It's this beautiful magenta-y fuchsia color with a fun name. And I think he just has a few colors out at this point, but I want to say they're either all or mostly like tonals and semi-solids, and that's what I'm always looking for. I mean, I love a fun speckly yarn to look at, but for my designs and for garment knitting and stuff, I really like people who do good solids. So I'm always excited to see another person coming out with solids or tonals, semi-solids, right? So check out Quitter Yarns. And then this is a really fun collab I want to talk about. So if you follow me or these people on Instagram, you've probably seen about this, but James Makes Things has a yarn. That's his name on Instagram, James Makes Things. Also has a yarn brand called James Makes Yarn, which I've never knit with them, but they look really beautiful. Beautiful, colorful stuff. He and the people at Ching Fiber, another yarn brand, decided to collab together where they both dyed up an exclusive colorway to celebrate Pride Month, which is this month, and they are selling them separately. I think you can only get his color from him and Ching Fiber's color from Ching Fiber, but proceeds go to LGBTQ charities, which is cool. But the way they did this is they both dyed a pride colorway, like a really colorful one, and then they each chose one of my designs to knit where they use both of those yarns together. So here's James Makes Things yarn. I forget what the name of it is. It's got a fun name. It's a beautiful yarn. I'm really tempted to order a skein of this, maybe to just make socks or something. And then here's Ching Fiber's yarn. And they both took these colorways and did them on a lot of bases. So there's a lot of bases, different weights, different textures, even like some novelty yarn bases that have these colorways. So you have a lot of options. And then they, as I said, they both chose one of my patterns to knit where they could use each other's yarns together. So James did my color quadrant cap, which is one of my favorite designs of all time. And I love the way he did this post with the editing in the background. Is so cool. Really beautiful. And then Ching Fiber did my garter glide tee, which I actually originally did in Ching Fiber's linen yarn, but they've done it here in wool, I think, with the two yarns put together, and they like striped them. So a little bit different from the original pattern, but I love that they took the pattern and did it their own way to showcase both of these yarns really like equally. Hope you can see that okay, but if not, check out their Instagrams. But I just wanted to say how cool it is the way they did this collab, because they're both successful yarn dyers. They easily could have just done their own thing, but they decided to collab together to use each other's yarns. And then they're also both designers. I know James has a sock pattern out that's really beautiful, and Ching Fiber has many patterns, but they're both designers, and they could have promoted themselves, you know? They could have just knit their own designs and used their own yarn, but instead they use each other's yarns and use my designs, and you know, it's just this like beautiful circle of support. And it's something that I love about the knitting world and the knitting community is I think a lot of creatives in our industry really operate from an abundance mindset, which I try to do, and I think it's really nice. And thank you to both of them for thinking of me and including me in this. I didn't really have to even do anything. They just emailed me and were like, hey, we want to use your designs for this collab. Is that cool? And I was like, absolutely. So thank you to them, and go check out their yarns. I think some bases are maybe even sold out already, but definitely some other ones should still be in stock. Last I checked. Take a look. Yum, yum, yum. Excuse me. What else? I just had some cool patterns come out from some of my friends. Park and Knit just had her big birthday sale, and she came out with the Jet Set pants, which Jessie May and I were helping photograph all on our trip. If you ever wanted to knit a full pair of pants, now's the time. Check it out. Isn't that cool? I hope I'm holding this at the right level for you to see. I think I took this photo. I love this one. But yeah, unfortunately, if you weren't paying attention, you missed the birthday sale. The birthday sale ended this weekend, but what better birthday gift to Park than to buy her patterns at full price, okay? So if you're interested, she has so many beautiful patterns. Yeah, maybe you don't want to knit pants, but she has plenty of beautiful sweaters and hats and stuff. And then Jessie May also had a release a couple weeks back for Totally Tank Top, also seen here modeled by Park. Very beautiful. I'm already seeing this pattern getting knit a lot. Everyone loves Jessie's summery patterns, myself included. And she has a new pattern coming out this Wednesday for, what is it? It's some type of like little mock neck tank. It is very cute in like a cute Barbie pink. Oh, and here's what the back looks like. Isn't that pretty? Very elegant back. What else? I've made some fun new purchases. I mean, I showed you my perfume. That was a fun purchase. Also, I found it online. I don't know if this is a Croatian website or if it's all around Europe. The website was called Notino, and I found that perfume for like almost half price, and I got the biggest bottle you could get. But I got a couple of other fun new things to show you guys that I want to talk about. First, let me just show, in Dubrovnik, we were walking around the city center and found this little shop with like hand embroidered and hand woven, like folk style art pieces, like placemats, coasters, bookmarks, and I'll get up and show you up close. The bookmark that I got is so beautiful. Look at it in the light. Also, it was really inexpensive. It was only €4, and sometimes you walk into a shop like that as a tourist and you don't know. Like, you see the person working there and you don't know if it's actually handmade or if they made it or if there's a middleman somewhere. But you walk in, there's one woman working there, and she is sitting there stitching a new one right in front of your eyes. So you knew it was legit. It was like a family business that they've had for, I think she just celebrated her 50th anniversary with that shop. She comes from a long line of craftswomen who do these same crafts and embroidering. And I told her, I was like, we are 3 like knitters and fiber artists, so we really have like a deep appreciation for this, and we think your work is so beautiful and so special. We took a long time. We like wanted to look at everything too before we could make up our minds on what to get. And I just got myself one of these bookmarks, and then I brought home another bookmark for a friend. And we all ended up getting stuff though. But then once she heard that we were knitters, she also knits. She likes to knit while she watches TV. But she was like, she showed that, not this one, but some of her bigger pieces for like tapestries and stuff were embroidered with silk. And she was like, I harvest my own silk. Do you want to see my silkworms? And we were like, yeah, we want to see your silkworms. She's like, 1 second. She goes into a closet and pulls out like a shoebox, and she opens it, and it is filled with cocoons that have hatched and silkworms. And she told us all about like the breeding and the life cycle and the way she harvests the silk. And it was just really cool and really special. She spins it herself. She has a spinning wheel. And yeah, find her. I'm sorry I didn't think to bring her little card with me with her name on it, but you can find her if you go to Dubrovnik. So that was one very special purchase, and it feels so nice to be putting my Dubrovnik traditional Croatian art in my Game of Thrones book that I'm reading. And what else did I get recently? I went to the flea market in Zagreb, which is called Helic, which the main day for that is Sunday mornings. Actually, I might be going tomorrow morning because it's Saturday today. And my friend was asking if I'd be interested, and my answer is always yes to going to Helic. The main thing that I look for when I go to Helic is old film cameras, and there's always some there to be found. And last time I went by myself for the first time, which was exciting, and I got 2 film cameras, and I want to show them and talk about them a little bit. Let me just put my iPad over here. So the first one I'll talk about is this super tiny, darling, cute camera. It is an Agfomatic 1000, and it is the first camera of this type that I've ever used. It opens like this, and then you take the photo like this. And it uses 110 format film, the most standard format that people have been using over the past several decades. Like casual film photography people are using 35 millimeter or 135. This is 110. It is a very tiny, small format of film, and I think it even, like, for a few years no one was making it anymore, and now the people at Lomography, which is a company that does they sell a lot of like vintage cameras, and then they also make like toy cameras in vintage styles. They're not toys, they're functional, but they're called toys because they do a lot of like cheap plastic cameras that are really simple and easy to use and take low quality photos is kind of their thing. But they've also had a big hand in like preserving film photography, because they have now taken it on themselves to be the only people that I know of producing this 110 film. They have 3 or 4 varieties, and luckily I found a shop that sold the film. And I really meant to transfer some of the photos that I took with this on my vacation onto this iPad, but I don't think that I did. Yeah, I'm not seeing any, so that's unfortunate, but that's okay. Yeah, it's like a camera that fits in your pocket. The photos, it's just a point and shoot. There's no focusing to do. There's no electronic components. It is completely analog. And the photos are simple, tiny, and low quality, but really have that vintage aesthetic feel and feel like cool and special. So I did 2 rolls of film with this on my trip, which was really fun. Also, this camera I paid €3 for, only €3. That was a steal. And then I also got a camera that I've wanted for a long time. It is an Olympus Pen. Is it the Pen E? Yeah, Pen EE, which this uses 35 millimeter film, which is the standard, easiest to get. And what makes this camera special is that it is a half frame camera, which is something I've known about for a long time and wanted for a long time, because it uses regular 35 millimeter film, but the actual photos that it takes uses only half the frame of a standard 35 millimeter photo. So when I put in a roll of film in this camera that would normally get 36 exposures or 36 pictures, it doubles and you get 72 pictures out of this thing. They're just half size. So this also fits in your pocket. This costs €30, which actually, it seems, I haven't finished a roll of film because it's a lot of photos to get through. I should be getting close to being done with my first roll. And everything seems to be working fine. Assuming these pictures turned out okay, €30 is actually a really good price for this camera, hobbyists really love these old half-frame cameras. So they're sought after. Let me take your picture. Smile. 1, 2, 3. Did you enjoy that role play that I just forced you to do? Did you like stop what you were doing and look up at the screen and smile? Are you excited to see your photo when it comes out? Me too. So this was exciting. I hope that these photos turn out. If not, one thing that you can consider if you are interested in film, if you shoot film, if you like the idea of this half-frame camera and getting all these extra photos, Kodak in the past couple years came out with a new film camera, which that's been a thing the past year or two. A number of these like heritage photography brands are seeing the big resurgence film has been having. I mean, I feel like film was having its come up again even when I was in high school. That's when I got into it again, with the hipster movement and movies like Juno coming out. A lot of me and my friends wanted to try film. But that was the beginning, and I feel like it has just been slowly continuing to grow in popularity. And a lot of these companies are just now, they're coming out with new film cameras, which is really cool. And they're not overly expensive, but Kodak has a new half-frame camera that I think is about $60 that you can get. Should be really easy to use. I think it has a flash. You pop in a battery for the flash, and yeah, that's fun, that's cool. And ooh, I can see my neighbor having a little cigarette on his balcony. Oh, I didn't like talk about Croatia in this episode. I like to say something about Croatia every episode, and I can just say that people here still smoke quite a bit, and it's just the culture. It's not what I'm used to. I feel like you don't see a lot of cigarette smokers as much anymore in America. You see a lot of kids vaping, which I feel like my exact age group within plus minus a few years, I feel like is the most like nicotine free group, and like people older than us were smoking cigarettes, and then people younger than us got into vaping. But my age, none of my friends are really into nicotine. But here, everyone smokes cigarettes, young and old, for the most part. And that's one of the reasons why there are cafes all over the place, because you can still smoke indoors at cafes. And there's not as many restaurants as I would think, and as a lot of other cities that I've been to have, because you cannot allow smoking where food is served. So people just don't eat as much, I don't know. So that's one interesting thing to mention about Croatia. Take it as you will, no judgment here. I mean, I tried to be a cigarette smoker. When I lived in China to study abroad when I was 20 years old, the program I went to was almost all Europeans, and almost all of them smoked, and a lot of Chinese people smoke as well. So that was a smoking culture, and I was young, and I was like, I want to smoke, like I want to fit in and smoke in the circle. And so for that year, I like casually smoked cigarettes quite a bit, and thank God, I just never really enjoyed them, and it didn't really take for me because I never got addicted. I never really even enjoyed them. Once I left China, I stopped smoking cigarettes. I forget that sometimes though. Me being a little cigarette smoker, that is funny. Anything else to mention before I call it done? I don't know. Oh my God, my nose is being so itchy. All those perfume haters watching are gonna be like, that's what you get for spraying perfume. Now you're having allergies. Worth it. Oh, I have a couple of other, well no, just one other purchase I want to talk about. I got this backpack in preparation for my trip, which was really, I like thought about this and was looking at it for a long time on Etsy before I ordered it. It is a leather drawstring backpack. Beautiful, soft, but strong leather with these really cool like nylon rope cords just tied into knots with these little leather caps. Not too expensive for a leather bag, less than 200 euros for sure. I think it was around, maybe closer to 100 than to 200 if I remember correctly.
definitely a treat. And I got it on Etsy from a brand called Parallel Goods. The brand is Parallel Goods. And what was really cool is that I just searched leather drawstring backpack. I had an idea for something exactly like this, and I wanted to see if I could find it. And this brand was the one by far doing the closest to what I had in mind. And it just so happened that this creator is based in Ljubljana, Slovenia, which is like an hour and a half away from Zagreb. So really cool to get something made almost like locally in a way. It already has some scratches, signs of wear and tear, but that is a beautiful thing with leather. I don't mind that at all. And I use this every day, throwing it onto rocky beaches on the coast of my vacation. Yeah. Ugh, it still smells so leathery and good though. I don't think that this maker is really that active. I think I was her first sale. She had maybe even had it in a year. Communication was a little bit slow. She didn't have that many products to offer. So I don't know if you can get this exact one. I think this was the only one, but she still has a couple of other leathers and colors of this style you can choose from if you want to consider ordering one. I'm really happy with this. So that's my other purchase I wanted to talk about. What else is on my list? People wanted to know what podcasts I watch. So I've talked a little bit about how I've also been getting back into knitting podcasts, and there are definitely a few that I've subscribed to and that I'd recommend. The most obvious is like the first knitting podcast I probably ever watched, which is Grocery Girls. I feel like I found the Grocery Girls podcast when I was first getting into knitting as an adult, and when they were probably within their first 10 episodes, like they were brand new. And then I've watched them off and on, depending on if I'm even in the mood for like watching that kind of thing. But when I am into knitting podcasts, I always enjoy watching them. And lately I've been watching all their episodes. They're really sweet. They're really fun. They do long episodes. So if you want something to have on for a couple of hours, they're great. Other podcasters that I've really been enjoying are Future Fiber. I don't really have anything that much to say individually that's specific about these people. I just like all of them. I feel like they keep it pretty knitting focused, unlike myself. They go into nice detail about what project. They always have a lot of projects to show, a lot of yarns to talk about. That's why I watch it, is I like hearing about the knitting stuff. And the biggest thing with all the people I'm gonna name is that I feel like I just get a sense that they're being really authentic. I don't feel like they're putting anything on, especially for YouTube. I just feel like I'm hanging out with a friend who's being themselves. So Future Fiber is one to check out. Maker Bee, I really like her. And Black Sheep Knitter also is a lot of fun. She's prolific. She's like trying to knit a West Knit shawl every month or something. That is an undertaking. Those West Knit shawls are huge. So those are who I recommend. Grocery Girls, Future Fiber, Black Sheep Knitter, Maker Bee. If you're looking for more knitting podcasts to enjoy. Anything else? Any closing remarks? I'm not playing a lot of video games that I haven't already talked about. I'm mostly playing Heroes of the Storm with my friends in the evenings. But on the subject of video games, I think I might buy a PS5, which is something I've wanted for years. I might buy a PS5 next weekend. We'll see. I'm really excited by the prospect of that. So yeah, that'll be fun if I get a PS5. Yeah, keep on knitting, knit my patterns, join the Cowl, join the rivalry group, enjoy. Thanks for watching. Bye. Kiss, kiss. Bye.